The nth term of a sequence is given by Tn equals 4n minus 2. Verify that the sequence is arithmetic. So there's two ways of doing this. So I personally think this is the easier way. I'll talk through that in a second. And then this is the algebraic way. So I'm going to take the nth term formula, which is Tn equals 4n minus 2. And I'm going to work out term 1, 2, 3, and 4 by replacing the n for a set of brackets and replacing it with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So term 1 is 4 times 1 minus 2, which is 2. Term 2 is 4 times 2 minus 2, which is 6. Term 3 is 10. Term 4 is 14. So we end up with 2, 6, 10, and 14 as the first four terms of our sequence. And we get the difference to be plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. So since the difference is the same, the sequence must be arithmetic. Algebraically, we can start with the Tn formula. So Tn equals 4n minus 2. And then we're going to work out Tn plus 1. So we're going to replace the n with n plus 1. Make sure to include brackets. So then 4 times n is 4n. And 4 times 1 is 4. And we're going to bring over the minus 2. And then 4n is going to be the only algebraic term. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. So Tn plus 1 is 4n plus 2. So if Tn is the first term, then Tn plus 1 could be seen as the second term. If Tn is the seventh term, then Tn plus 1 would be the eighth term. If Tn is the 20th term, then Tn plus 1 is the 21st term, and so on. So you can think of it in terms of Tn being a term and Tn plus 1 being the next term, because these are consecutive terms. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to call them the second and the first term. So if the second term is Tn plus 1, we're going to subtract the first term, which is Tn, to get the difference. So Tn plus 1, we replace with 4n plus 2, because we work that out over here. We bring down the minus. And then Tn, we replace with 4n minus 2. That was given in the question. Make sure you use brackets, because you're going to have to multiply in that minus. And if you don't use brackets, it will go wrong. We bring down the 4n plus 2. Minus times 4n is minus 4n. Minus times minus 2 is positive 2. And the 4n and the minus 4n will cancel, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4 is a constant, and therefore the sequence is arithmetic. If Tn is equal to n times n plus 2 for a given sequence, verify that the sequence is not arithmetic. So Tn is equal to n times n plus 2. Then T1 is going to be 1 times 1 plus 2. So I'm replacing each of those n's with 1, which is equal to 3. And then term 2, I'm replacing each of those n's with 2. So 2 times 2 plus 2 is 8. Term 3 will be 15. Term 4 will be 24. So we have 3, 8, 15, and 24. So we write them out in a list with commas in between. Then we get the difference between each term. To get from 3 to 8, we plus 5. To get from 8 to 15, we plus 7. To get from 15 to 24, we plus 9. So we can clearly see that the difference is not the same. It's not a constant, so it's not arithmetic. It's not the same. There is no common difference. And then algebraically, we can write out Tn to be n times n plus 2, and then Tn plus 1 will be n plus 1 times n plus 1 plus 2, which will be n plus 1 times n plus 3. So what I did was I took the Tn equation, and every n, I just added on a 1. So that n, I added on a 1 with a set of brackets around it. The brackets are really important. And then that n, I added on a 1 as well. I didn't need to add on a second set of brackets there because there was already brackets. And then I just have to simplify. So 1 plus 2 makes 3. So we can say that Tn is a term and Tn plus 1 is the next term. So just like in the other example, you could say Tn is the 6th term and Tn plus 1 is the 7th term, or Tn is the 10th term and Tn plus 1 is the 11th term, and so on. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to call them the first and second terms, but it really means a term and then the next one. So if the second term or the next term is Tn plus 1, if we subtract the previous term, which is the first term, which is Tn, we should get the difference. So we replace Tn plus 1 with n plus 1 times n plus 3. We bring down the minus and we replace Tn with n times n plus 2. Now notice that I have square brackets. That's because there's already brackets inside the expression. So just be careful there, that all these brackets can get a bit confusing and you could end up making some mistakes, especially with the minus. So n plus 1 times n plus 3, multiply out the brackets and I get n squared plus 3n plus n plus 3. Bring down the minus, and then n by n is n squared, n by 2 is 2n. And then n squared plus 3n plus n plus 3 simplifies to n squared plus 4n plus 3. Minus times n squared is minus n squared. Minus times 2n is minus 2n. Then the n squared and the minus n squared will cancel. And 4n minus 2n is 2n. And we bring down the plus 3. So since there's an n in our answer, this expression is not constant. So therefore, the sequence is not arithmetic. So if there's an n in your answer, the sequence is not arithmetic.